A local rivalry takes stage here at MSU Soccer Park as New York Red Bulls Sioux host Bethlehem Steel in midweek action, coming up now on ESPN+. Welcome, everybody, to our broadcast of New York Red Bulls Sioux USL Soccer against Bethlehem Steel FC. I'm David Goss, joined today by Hunter Freeman, former New York Red Bull player, for a good one. Hunter, New York Red Bulls Sioux close out a 3-game homestand. They've started out with two 5-1 wins. They're looking to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, they've been on absolute fire here at home, but today they face a tough task in this Bethlehem Steel team, someone they've yet to beat this year.
And when you look at Bethlehem Steel, you look at their attack, and the man pulling the strings today, it's going to be the man in that midfield, Santi Moar.
Yeah, he leads the team in shots. He's definitely got to pick up for the Corey Burke, who's moved back with the Philadelphia Union. He'll be looking for someone to fill in that goal scoring that Burke has left since his move up with the Union.
3 goals this year, 6 goals last year for Moar at a Pfeiffer University. And then on the flip side, for New York Red Bulls too, Jared Stroud was the assist man, but he took center stage last game here at MSU Soccer Park.
Yeah, he was a team leader in assists, and then last week he found himself on the goal scoring sheet of most unconventional ways, especially with that first one, but sometimes that's what it takes to get going. You just need that little bit of luck, and then you get the confidence, and he'll definitely be riding high today in the game.
Jared Stroud's got a little new help in that front line. Erik Jones Jr. playing with New York Red Bulls Sioux for just the second time this year, will be in that attacking 3 alongside him and Andrew Tenari. We're looking forward to this one. It's never simple when these two teams face off. Bethlehem Steel FC coming up from Pennsylvania for midweek action, looking for what would be a big win, just their 3rd on the road. New York Red Bulls Sioux look to close out this homestand before they head to FC Cincinnati on Saturday. All your first half action and lineups coming up here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health, life years ahead.
What a better way to spend a midweek evening than out at the soccer field. New York Red Bulls Sioux and Bethlehem Steel getting ready to face off. Let's take a look at our starting lineups real quick. And for Bethlehem Steel FC, it's a mixed bag. Some players, Richie Marquez and Josh Yarrow, who haven't spent a lot of time with this team. You've got Santi Moar, who we mentioned, and Matt Real. James Chambers with the captain's armband. And up top, Ferris, just an 18-year-old out of Cameroon, signed yesterday.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see what he brings to this team and what he can show today. It's his potential. It's a new signing. I know they'll look to fill in those goals from Corey Burke.
On the flip side for New York as well, a mixed bag. Ryan Miro steps in goal with Evan Loro's suspension after his red card. Fidel Escobar comes down for his third game with New York Red Bulls 2. And then we mentioned Derek Etienne Jr. in the attacking three alongside Tenari and Jared Stroud.
Yeah, a lot of firepower coming down from MLS for this Red Bull 2 team. It'll be really interesting to see Fidel Escobar and his mindset. Just, a couple weeks ago he was playing at the World Cup. Now he finds himself here at Montclair, Red Bull 2. Sometimes those are the most difficult things as a pro, to go from such a high level where the stadium's full, people are chanting your name, you're representing your country, and now you're here back with your club team trying to prove your worth.
Yeah, 3 starts in the World Cup for Fidel Escobar as we get a peek at Brendan Burke in his 3rd season as head coach of Bethlehem Steel FC. The only ever coach. On the flip side, John Wolnick, also the only ever coach in New York Red Bulls 2 history. 2 coaches that know each other very well in a rivalry that has gotten very fun. Daniel Gutierrez, our head official. Joey Zawitowski, his assistant, as well as Katarina Wasiak. And Mark Trialman, our 4th official in this one. New York Red Bulls 2 started their homestand a little over a week ago with a 5-1 win against Atlanta United 2. And then followed that one up with a 5-1 victory against the Richmond Kickers. Armando Moreno, Brian White, Jared Stroud, and Andrew Tenari have been absolutely on fire. Hunter, when you have results like that, what are you focusing on in training to try and continue to keep them going?
Well, when you have results like that, nothing's better than a tight fixture of games, which they've had, 3 games within, 10 days probably. So as a coach, you want to keep the games coming when your team's putting 5-6 goals away each time.
Well, that's fortunate for this team because they've got this game right here, and then they travel to Cincinnati, and on Saturday they play against FC Cincinnati in what is a very important game in the standings for this New York Red Bulls 2 team. So maybe fortunate that this is one of those games, Hunter, where they get an opportunity to bring a Derek Etienne Jr. and a Fidel Escobar in, rest some guys, get some weight off some of those legs, as they're going to have now what ends up being 4 games in a matter of about 15 days.
No, you're exactly right. And I mean, one of those guys on the bench tonight is Moreno, and he's been on absolute fire, scoring goals, grabbing assists, especially at this 3-game homestand that they've had here so far. So a good night for him to get some rest, and for some of those guys with the MLS team to come down, get some minutes ahead of this busy summer on both sides.
Armando Moreno, 3 goals and 2 assists in the last 2 games here at home. Really enjoying his play right now. Consistently being a threat out on the wing. Derek Etienne Jr., though, 3 goals and an assist in MLS action this year, of course, was one of the leaders of the 2016 USL Championship team here at New York Red Bulls 2. On the ball now, Etienne Jr. looking for the quick ball into the feet of White. Jake McGuire's out. He gets a touch to it. Can't pick it up cleanly. And now Bethlehem, a mistake trying to clear their lines. New York hands it right back. A messy start here, Hunter, in the back for Bethlehem.
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic ball there from Etienne. Most players would have tried to play that in between the 2 center backs, but he catches the center back wrong-footed, plays it on the outside, and Brian White almost gets to the end of it.
Stroud getting worked off the ball there by Matt Real, one of the homegrown players on this Bethlehem Steel team, signed by the Philadelphia Union. Real, 3 starts in MLS play this year. And when a lot of people talk about this US Academy to MLS pipeline through USL, they talk about the New York Red Bulls as a success. You look at what Philadelphia Union have done. Austin Trusty, McKenzie, who's going to be in the MLS homegrown game. You look at Matt Real, Anthony Fontana. Philadelphia might be right in there in that conversation as most successful.
Yeah, it kind of all started when they brought in Ernie Stewart. They moved to this youth movement, and obviously they didn't have to look too far up I-95 for a successful blueprint here with New York Red Bulls and Red Bull 2. And as we've know in this league, one thing, as soon as something works and a team has success, you can bet your good money that someone else is going to try to copy it.
So Michi Galina able to draw the foul there for this Bethlehem team. One of the guys we're both excited to watch, Hunter, in midfield, Erik Jones, wearing that number 8. was a starter for the US U20s on their last successful trip to the U20 World Cup. Has played a number of minutes in Major League Soccer and here in USL's got 4 goals already this season.
Yeah, and it'll be a tough matchup for him tonight in there with Gutierrez. You got Tenari and Lima. So, you know, 3 guys, that 3 little triangle that we've seen, especially in this homestand. They're clicking, they're understanding one another. Tenari and Gutierrez making those delayed runs out of midfield. It'll be interesting to see how he tracks them, how he communicates to his back 4. But definitely a tough task at hand for Jones and this Bethlehem Steel team.
So a real feel of 81 degrees as the sun sets here in Montclair, New Jersey. New York Red Bulls, of course, in their home whites with red shorts. Bethlehem Steel in their blues with the gold piping. Bethlehem Steel FC coming into this one off the backs of a 1-1 draw at home against North Carolina. And now their first chance to break away. Ferris charging it to the box and goes wide of that near post. But first opportunity to see the young Cameroonian.
Yeah, he did extremely well there. He just withdrew off Escobar just a couple yards, was able to get turned, and there you see a little bit of his pace that he brings to the game. I feel like Escobar could have done a little bit better job here. He's trying to cover the pass into Galena, who is making that overlapping run. Kind of gets caught off-footed, and then obviously Ferris shows his pace and gets in behind.
Similar to what we saw a bit on the other side with Etienne Jr.'s through ball. 2 backlines trying to guess that pass and jump it rather than wait and watch the play through. For Bethlehem Steel FC, I mentioned Brendan Burke coaching them once again. He's a longtime coach of Reading United through all their PDL success, bringing a number of pros up through that team. Players that went on to play at the highest level. And guys like Andrew Wenger and Luke Mulholland and current Philadelphia Union players CJ Sapong and John McCarthy. Sprayed out wide for Real, who goes up the line. Moar now a chance to dribble a little bit. And pulled out to defend, and Moar gets the shot away, and it rolls wide. Ryan Mira in goal for this one. Mira wearing the captain's armband, filling in for Evan Laurel, who picked up that red card in the last game late on. Before Ryan Mira, these games are huge because we saw Luis Robles, the Iron Man, go down finally this year, and Mira be so ready to step in because of the opportunities he's gotten here with New York Red Bulls too.
Yeah, I mean, as a goalkeeper, you always want to stay sharp, and you can only stay so sharp within training. And you know, Mira, he enjoys these games, especially at home. He doesn't have to travel. It's right here. He can get that game sharpness. And like you said, when he stepped in earlier this year when Robles went down, he was absolutely fantastic. And, you know, put the Red Bull team on his back in a couple of those, especially that one away to Atlanta on the road.
Stroud's cross intercepted. Casaras steps up and wins the ball. Now Lema looking for an option. He finds the feet of Tenari. Into the feet of Etienne Jr. New York Red Bulls who's starting to work the possession a little bit more. Casaras with the long shot, and his left-footed try goes over the far post.
Decent look there from Casares. You see him kind of cut inside there. Hits it with his left foot. Doesn't really strike it as he wanted, but that's the overload that this Red Bull 2 team want to have with their midfielders. You see there, you have both Tenari and Casares getting forward, creating that overload for the Bethlehem Steel back 4.
Escobar pops that ball up in the air. He's able to win the second one. Jones now going to create some space. Galena able to get by De Vera. Trying to find a cross from that right side. Gets it into the feet of Ferris and cleared away by Casares. Bethlehem Steel FC finding some success down their right wing so far. Tenari playing White into space. To the feet of Stroud, whose cross goes through McGuire, but no one there on the far side to put it in.
Yeah, 2 very good half chances for both teams end to end. The first for Bethlehem. Galena doing very well against Tavera, beating him one-on-one, putting the cross in there. But Ndam was there to stop Ferris, and then immediately down to the other side. A good cross, but nobody in the box.
Stroud following this one up. Real dives and wins possession. Goes quickly towards the feet of Ferris, and it's knocked away by Ndam. Fidel Escobar, 2 appearances in Major League Soccer this year. This now his 4th appearance in USL, but those 3 starts in the World Cup group stage against Belgium, England, and Tunisia. Most clearly, Hunter, going to be the highlight of his year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we spoke about at the opening of this broadcast was, you know, his attitude, his mindset coming into this game tonight. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he was in Russia representing his country, playing, you know, at the stage that every soccer player wants to be at, they dream to be at. And now he's back here, and he's got to get back with this Red Bull team, with this Red Bull organization, and prove that he deserves those minutes with the first team.
And for anyone, I mean, if you're Paul Pogba, preseason with Manchester United, Premier League games seem like small potatoes compared to what you've just experienced. As you said, once every 4 years, the peak for every player. It's got to be emotional just trying to get over that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, he represented his country in all 3 games.
The first time they've ever been to a World Cup.
First ever World Cup. Obviously, the games didn't go as they had planned, and I'm sure as he had hoped. They didn't have that success, but still, what a fantastic opportunity and experience that he had. And now he's got to bring that experience and opportunity here, whether it's with this Red Bull 2 team or with the first team. And you can bet that Chris Armas, John Wallenick, they're looking for that. They're looking for that valuable experience that he's gained this past month and a half while he was in Russia.
Etienne Jr. putting the pressure on Mahoney. Bethlehem able to clear. Good battle in the midfield. Tenari trying to come away with it. Fontana in the end wins that ball. Escobar flicks that one over Ferris and then back up into the midfield. Neither of these teams really able to settle this game down so far here in these opening 10 minutes. Galena has been a threat. He's already got 1 goal against New York Red Bulls 2 in their 3-0 victory earlier on in the season. And Hunter, he's shown that confidence to take on Nico de Vera and to try and attack the goal.
Yeah, that half chance that we spoke about earlier, he just had de Vera one-on-one. He just gave it a little bit of lift over de Vera's leg, was able to then use his body well to gain positioning and sent in a dangerous cross on the ground looking for Ferris. But like I said, Ndam was there to sniff out the danger for Red Bull too.
Ndam on the ball here has been wearing the captain's armband in a few of the last games. Tenari now goes wide for Cutler coming forward. Early ball for White. And it's touched wide. And it looks like, to go out for a goal kick.
And that was well done there from Cutler. The first time we've seen him get forward tonight, and we know he loves to get forward. You know, he started off as a forward or midfielder. Now he's found himself playing right back. But a good idea there. He was looking for Brian White, but he just couldn't quite catch up to it. But that's better run of play, build up through the midfield, get it wide, and get runners in the box from Red Bull too.
You could see on that one, Jared Stroud coming in field to pick up the ball, and Real, the fullback, following him the whole way, giving Cutler that space. Josh Yarrow now under pressure. Josh Yarrow, just 23 years old, out of Georgetown University, has struggled with injuries this year. So now getting an opportunity to work his way back with Bethlehem Steel. Jones switching the field. Mahoney now pushing forward. Yarrow with a long ball. Cutler tracks it. Real picks up the knockdown.
This is a good sequence of possession from Bethlehem Steel. They're not just keeping the ball side to side, but you saw that long ball. They had kept it. Yarrow tried to play forward, but immediately they're there to win that second ball. And here's the same diagonal ball he just overcooks it a little bit. But I like that spell of possession from them. Like I said, they're keeping the ball, but then picking their moments to go forward. They're not just going side to side. You know, I call it kind of pointless possession sometimes, especially this early in the game. You want possession, but you want it to be moving forward, and that was a good example of that from Bethlehem.
For Red Bulls, too, 15 minutes played here, Hunter. The press has been what's helped them pounce on teams, ADL, UTD2, as well as Richmond in the last 2 games. We haven't seen that so far in this one. Bethlehem, there, more time to play on the ball than Red Bulls, too, have been giving teams over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that could, come back to the amount of games that they've played in the last couple weeks. And also, looking ahead to the weekend as well. Obviously, it's a hot night here, and even though it's in the 80s, on that turf down there, it's an extra 10 degrees, maybe even 15 at least. So the conditions are not ideal for the press. We've seen a couple instances of it, but definitely nothing like we had the past 2 games where they were just absolutely relentless against their opponents, and we're getting numerous chances in the beginning of the game.
A goal and minute and a half in against the Richmond Kickers, forcing Travis Wara, the goalkeeper, into a mistake as Galena goes by Devera once again. Slows up, can't get under that cross well. And Ryan Mira able to come out and take that one quite simply in the end. If you're on Bethlehem and you see Galena consistently taking Devera now, how do you continue to feed that? How do you continue to make that a success?
Keep giving him the ball, and that's kind of what they've done. They've been able to find him out here on the right, isolated, and that was well done also from Mahoney, who actually underlapped him there and was able to create some confusion with Escobar in regards to if he stepped on Galena or stayed with Mahoney, the runner. And Escobar, to his credit, did the right thing and went with the runner Mahoney and gave up the cross. And then, unfortunately for Bethlehem, Galena did all the hard work, and then when he was able to serve a ball in the box, it was pretty poor.
Our head official, Daniel Gutierrez, with the whistle there. New York Red Bulls 2 now back on the attack. Stroud winding up the shot. Didn't get a whole lot of it in. It took a deflection. Escobar stepping forward as Ferris slips. Etienne Jr. lays it back. Now Brian White in a foot race. And eventually it's cleared at the last second there. Dangerous moments before Richie Marquez could save the day.
But that's how this Red Bull 2 team creates so many of the chances. If you see that replay, you would see that as soon as that ball comes into Etienne, even though he's going to lay it back to Tanari, Brian White has already initiated that run before Etienne's even laid the ball off. And it's that type of movement, that type of early, those early movements, seeing a play before it fully develops, and that's what makes the difference.
Clearance up the line will go out. It's much different watching Etienne Jr. in this attack than Amando Moreno, who's much more of a take my guy on. Not selfish player because he sets guys up, but he does it through his dribble rather than passing.
Yeah, and I think obviously both are very effective in that position, but as you just said, they're completely different players.
The layoff here. Flipped away from Devera. Beautiful turn by Jones. He's got players out in space looking for Moar, but Endom's going to get there first.
But getting back to the difference between Etienne Jr. and Moreno, obviously Etienne Jr., he has that pace, right? He can get behind you, and as a defender, the most dangerous thing is when someone gets behind you. If they're in front of you, you still have time to sort it out and get it figured out. But as soon as they get in behind you, that's what creates problem for you and your team. Moreno doesn't necessarily have that pace, but he's creative, he's crafty, he's always looking to come inside on his right foot. I think I said in the last telecast that, he always makes that run in between the outside back and the center back on his side. I mean, I would say 75% of his runs are right there, and he finds himself on the end of a lot of dangerous crosses, a lot of balls slipped in from Tanari and Cáceres.
Chance for a dangerous cross here. New York Red Bulls 2. Set piece coming up right on the edge of the 18. Do you just take this one like a corner, Hunter, and just float across it, and you try and do something creative?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you'll line up very similar to a corner. Some teams may have something drawn up from the training ground here, especially when you look at Devera. He's wide open at the top of the box. I would love for him to just sneak in, and you could lay one off to him.
Taken quickly onto that near post, doesn't find a teammate. Now Cutler cycles possession back around. Cáceres, He earns a free kick there as he tried to turn around Fontana. And once again, we see the calm and poise of Christian Caceres, just 18 years old out of Venezuela, put under pressure there. And you never see him panic in any way. Feels like he's playing in a training game.
No, you're exactly right. And I love that from Caceres. And from what I've seen from the very first of the year to now, I mean, he's grown. He's understanding this Red Bull system that they play with both teams. And like you said, that calmness that he brings to this team and on the ball is what you want.
So New York
sometimes you maybe hope that he needs to show some urgency. But I think for me, what I like and the style of play that I like, I love what he brings, that calmness, the confidence that, hey, two guys are running at me, but I'm not going to panic. I'm going to try to play out of this.
New York Red Bulls, too, getting fortunate here. They got a corner kick really out of nothing as Mahoney wasn't sure what was behind him. It looks like Lemma will take the in-swinger here. On the near post, flicked on. Chance coming here for Escobar, and he puts his shot over the top. New York Red Bulls, too, not exactly efficient with their set-piece opportunities over the last few minutes.
Yeah, that one was a little bit down to the delivery. I don't think it's exactly where Lemma had hoped to put that one. It looked like maybe he was trying to hit that front guy, making that run just past the near post for a flick on, and there was 2 or 3 Red Bull 2 players on the back post. And then Escobar, he strikes it, but he's falling backwards, and when you're falling backwards and striking the ball, it's going to be very difficult to get it on target.
It's a little conversation right now from our head referee, Daniel Gutierrez, with some players in midfield. Now we're ready to play. Jake McGuire in goal in front of the Rampage down there on the end. Hasn't earned a shutout all season. He's given up 17 goals in his 13 starts. Escobar stepping in there. Now Etienne Jr. will take it. That ball over the top, too far for anyone to track down.
Yeah, you see Gutierrez trying to capitalize on Etienne's pace there, but he had 3 guys around him, and that's where you want Gutierrez just to put his foot on top of the ball, bring it back around, keep possession.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportsamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. A foul going against Anthony Fontana in midfield here off that header. For Bethlehem Steel FC, it's been a shaky 2 weeks. A 1-1 draw against North Carolina. They had to come from behind to earn that. Before that, a 2-1 loss at Atlanta United 2. And a 3-2 loss at Penn FC, their interstate rivals. So you got to go all the way back to a 4-1 win against the Charlotte Independents for their last victory. On the flip side, New York Red Bulls too had a similar run coming into this homestand. They've got those 2 5-1 wins back-to-back. Looking to make it 3 in a row here at MSU Soccer Park to move to 4-1 on the season here at home. Last year, New York Red Bulls, too, struggled early on in the season. Hunter, and you see for this team with so many moving parts, it takes a couple months for Coach Wolinek's team to start to settle in at all. Once they did, they ended up making a run as a 7 seed into the playoffs as Galena tries to get by Devera, and he knocks it away. Once New York Red Bulls, too, are able to find their form, they find some success, but it's always been the first 3 or so months of the season where they've had a lot of struggles.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I think with Red Bull 2 and even Bethlehem Steel, these teams that use a combination of not only players that maybe aren't quite ready to go up to the MLS team and then bringing guys down from the MLS team to get the minutes.
Fontana puts this one in. It's alive in the box. Knocked away by Lemma. Chambers trying to keep possession, and he does. Fontana back on the ball. Good link up between him and the captain. Now it goes all the way wide for Real. Ball floated in, headed away by Escobar. Endom with a dangerous header down in his own box, and finally New York clears.
But what I was saying, when you have that influx of talent,
as Stroud comes forward, no rest for the weary here. Etienne Jr. with the shot, and he clips it over the top.
that was a great look there from Etienne Jr. You could tell exactly what he was thinking because the keeper was off his line there. And as soon as that ball got laid back, Etienne Jr. saw it, and he tried to just give it a little clip. Unfortunately, he hits it just over the bar. But getting back to my earlier point, when you have that constant flux of players going up and down, it can be very difficult for the continuity of your team. Now, great for your organization as a whole because you're getting players minutes and experience, and guys who are injured can get, fit, et cetera, et cetera. But with the continuity of the team, it can become very difficult, and that's something that I've spoken to with John Wallenick about. And sometimes he often doesn't know week to week which players he's going to have available until maybe sometimes as close as a couple days before the match. So a lot of those things can play a role in what the team's record is for a particular moment, as well as the MLS team. If they have a bunch of injuries, then obviously they're going to be borrowing guys from Bethlehem Steel or Red Bull too. So there's a lot of things to look at, not just the record as a whole.
Ferris offside there. These New York Red Bulls 2 players. We had Florian Velo on our broadcast on Friday night for the 5-1 win against Richmond. His injury opening up a space which, if you're Jared Stroud or Andrew Tenari or even Christian Caceres, you're looking at that spot and knowing there's new available minutes, as well as Derek Etienne Jr.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, you never want to see your teammates get injured. But when your number's called and that opportunity comes, you got to take it because you never know when that opportunity may come again.
Moar's cross is blocked, but it'll go out for a corner kick.
And, I mean, look at Velo. The first game of the year for Red Bull 2, Velo was playing for Red Bull 2. And then we've never seen him again because he was the best player on the field that day. And I think, obviously, the organization knew what they had in him, but I think that just showed and, confirmed what they had been seeing in preseason. And he approached that game with the right attitude, which he could have come in thinking, man, I thought I was going to be with the MLS team, and now I'm here, with Red Bull 2. And look at that. He's done terrific, and it's unfortunate, obviously, with his injury because he was really finding his stride well and, becoming one of those players that they depended on.
Corner taken at the near post, and we wish Florian all the best. He went under for surgery today to repair that ACL, and he's got the long road back. He mentioned he was going to spend some time back in France now, the victorious France, so he can go celebrate that World Cup trophy. I know how happy he was on Sunday from his all-fire text messages, and he is enjoying that one. A nice little bonus.
Yeah, you think they planned the surgery for after the parade on purpose? I think there might be something behind that from Red Bull organization.
I think as Brian White comes forward here, Etienne Jr. a chance on goal. He puts it by McGuire and rolls it in. The dab got himself, Derek Etienne Jr., and his second appearance with New York Red Bulls 2 gets the opening goal.
Fantastic finish from Etienne Jr. And sometimes, that's what people want to knock on him, is that he's always dangerous. He's always getting in these excellent positions, but sometimes you just can't quite put it in the back of the net. And he definitely does that here. You see the ball in. Tenari just kind of helps it on to Brian White. And then it's that run that I said that Moreno always likes to make from in between the outside back and the center back. And a perfectly weighted ball from Brian White. And Etienne Jr. still had a lot to do there. A little dink over the goalkeeper into the far post. And Red Bull 2 find themselves up 1-0.
Derek Etienne Jr., his first USL goal of the year for a man who has scored a number of goals here at this level. Brian White picks up his 5th assist as well. And New York Red Bulls Stu now for the 3rd straight game here at home take a lead in the first half. Now coming forward again. Stroud's first pass is blocked into the feet now of Tenari. Etienne Jr. trying to play provider now, and White's offside.
Yeah, another good look there. They kind of role reversal, if you will, between Etienne Jr. and White trying to feed the big man, thanking him for that assist that he just handed to him. Unfortunately, Brian White just caught offside.
Brian White with the assist. He had an assist last game. He also had a goal last game. And then he also registered a save as he went into goal when Evan Laurel picked up his red card in the 77th minute. New York Red Bulls, who had already used all 3 subs, Brian White goes in goal, makes a save off the crossbar. And by all the research we've done and all the research everyone else has done, he's the first player in USL or MLS in the modern era to record a goal, an assist, and a save in the same game. Brian White making history.
That's right, and a good friend of mine and former Red Bull teammate as well, Mike McGee, someone who did something similar except not as spectacular, recording all 3 in one game. But I'm sure a lot of MLS fans and Red Bull fans will remember when he was shipped into goal in San Jose for the Galaxy and put on a pretty good performance. And I actually spoke to Wallinek how he decided who was going in goal. And he said the first person to volunteer was one of his center backs, and he said, no, we're not breaking up the back 4. And he had just subbed on Barlow up top with White to play together. So he said, you know what? White's probably a little more fatigued than Barlow, so we'll use Barlow's fresh legs now that we're down a man, and we'll throw White in goal. He's athletic. I think he can do it.
Maybe he didn't realize how good a goalkeeper Brian White really is, as White now tries to set up Stroud. Hassan Endam was like dying to put on those gloves. And he is the tallest player on the field, so it would make sense, except that he is your center back, and you don't really want to move your defense around when you're about to put a position player in goal.
Look, that's why Wally's the head coach, right? So, yeah. I mean, of course, any player you're thinking, oh, this is my opportunity. But any coach will tell you, you don't like to make subs to your back 4 unless you have to in regulation when it's 11v11. And especially if your team goes down a man, you've just put on a fresh pair of legs and Barlow up top. I think he made the right decision.
Etienne Jr. goes wide for Cutler. Cutler floats one towards the far post. Caceres slips. Now this one turned over again by Bethlehem. New York Red Bulls 2 back on the attack. Tenari looked like stuck between trying to find White and Stroud there.
But that was better from their pressure after that cross from Cutler that went to the far post.
And now Ferris racing the other way. Endom catching up to him. Galena looking for some space to shoot, and he rips it, but right on the hands of Ryan Mira.
And that's a good counter there from Bethlehem. You definitely got to keep your eyes on this front 3, front 4 of Bethlehem because they've been dangerous. Ferris has shown his pace so far. Obviously a new player that not only Red Bull 2 are trying to get to know, but his teammates as well. And Galena, who we spoke about earlier, he seems to be feeling it tonight. And there you saw that with that shot. He did very well to get that little last-second touch in there with his left foot to create that half-yard of space and get that shot off, unfortunately, right at Mira.
Stroud with the cross. It goes past White. Etienne Jr. is going to keep it in. Mahoney coming out to mark him. Etienne Jr. with the second cross to the far post. Stroud brings it back into the box, and Erik Jones is the only one there. He's able to clear his defensive lines.
It was a good ball from Etienne Jr. to the far post and found Stroud wide open. And I think he was caught in between two thoughts of, do I lay it back, which he decided to do, or do I just hit it one hard and try to put it on target? And I think, obviously, after he saw his layoff and nobody in the box, he was second-guessing himself, saying, I should have just let one go there.
That win there by Hassan Endom, beating then one man and laying it off. We came into the season, New York Red Bulls, very high on this player. He's taken a while to find his feet, but Hunter, over the last 3-4 months, he's become a whole new player at that center back position.
Yeah, I mean, as another guy that I saw the very first game of the year, along with Caceres, and as you said, there was a lot of potential there. There was a lot of hope and a belief in the organization of what he could become. And, fast forward 4 or 5 months down the road, he's definitely growing into that, and you can see why there was that belief in him. And we even saw him get on the score sheet a week and a half ago. So He'll definitely be feeling confident. I don't think they're too worried about him getting on the score sheet. I think they're more worried, obviously, on his defensive duties.
Jones going forward, trying to chase it himself, and Escobar puts it out. You can watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer. If you haven't checked them out, I highly recommend watching the New York Red Bulls 2 Richmond Kickers highlights as Endom hears our praise and puts out another nice tackle. White now able to keep possession away from Marquez.
Well done there from White. He didn't force that ball to Tenari. He just held up the ball, allowed more Red Bull 2 players to get into the play, and kept possession.
Caceres Jr. there keeping possession for his team. Tenari lets this one roll. And you see there when Caceres has to, you see him turn it on, the aggression, the speed. That first step there to beat Erik Jones to the ball. He doesn't unnecessarily play harried, but he can when he needs to.
And that's...
Stroud now getting into the box once again. This cross for White at the near post. His second shot is saved and cleared by Marquez.
Another great opportunity there for Brian White. Again, it's those little combinations. When that ball comes into Brian White, it's Tenari. You see Stroud plays it into it. Stroud plays that ball into White there. I think it was the give and go with Tenari. Stroud to Tenari, Tenari back to Stroud, and then that cross to White. But it's those runs out of the midfield time and time again that create problems for whatever opposition Red Bull 2 play against.
Sun setting here at MSU Soccer Park for USL action on Wednesday night. And thank you so much for joining us here on ESPN Plus. For everyone who's out here in the crowd, myself, David Goss, and Under Freeman on the call for this one. New York Red Bulls 2, a 1-0 lead. Erik Etienne Jr. in the 28th minute with the first goal of the game set up by Brian White.
But getting back, talking about Caceres, how he's so calm and composed and so technical, but yet still has that little bit of grittiness, that little bit of dirtiness. And that's what I love about him. I think that's what's going to make him a fantastic two-way midfielder, which he is that he can get forward, he can play that final pass, but when he needs to get stuck in, he definitely doesn't shy away. And although he's not the biggest of guys, he definitely his heart is massive.
Marquez plays this ball back for McGuire. So we mentioned Jake McGuire yet to register a shutout this season. We'll have to wait at least one more game for Bethlehem Steel FC. After this one, they head to Indy to play Indy 11. And then following up with that one, they get another bite at Atlanta United 2, who they fell to just a week ago. Caceres Jr. and Jones in a battle. Caceres able to keep possession. Now Etienne Jr. Another good 1-2. Back into the feet of Tenari. Here's a cross knocked down by Chambers. We saw early on Ferris and Galena be a big threat for this Bethlehem team. Galena hasn't seen a lot of the ball since then until now. Floating one towards the far post. Cutler just gets a little piece on it.
If he could have just got his head up a little bit quicker, he had those guys wide open 2 steps earlier.
This one goes wide now again. Galena trying to chase it down. He's able to keep it in play. One-on-one here with De Vera. Back up top for Fontana. We'll drop it all the way back. Bethlehem, their first set of sustained possession here, probably since the goal over the last 10 minutes. Moar charging forward. He goes down behind the play, but no whistle. Tenari working it out down the wing. The ball seems to have just moved a little bit quicker for New York Red Bulls too in this one. Hunter maybe a little less direct in this game, but they've been effective in the second half of this first period, creating and finding openings.
Yeah, it was almost their energy increased as that sun kept creeping down behind those trees.
Foot race here. Ferris beats Endom. The two Cameroonians going up against each other, but Endom comes away with it in the end.
But again, you see that pace, you see that threat that Ferris has. Escobar and Endom have to be aware at all times.
McGuire out there to pick that one up.
And this is the problem for me with Bethlehem right now. They're trying to play out of the back. Red Bull's pressing them. And the amount of space between the back four plus the one defensive midfielder and then the front 4 or 5, there's probably 20 yards in between. So it's difficult to get your head up to play a long ball to those guys. So they need a couple players at least to check into that 20 yards of space so that they can play the ball off and then start making their way up the field. Otherwise, it becomes way too difficult, and they're feeding right into the Red Bulls' pressure.
It's one of the things we've seen over the last few weeks as Red Bull's press has started to ramp up again like it has in last season. Some teams sitting too deep and getting pressured into mistakes in their own box. It's a lot of times teams getting completely disconnected. Attacking players feeling like we're one-on-one, just play us the ball. But it's hard to get your head up when you've got 3 players charging down on you.
Yeah, it's something that the Red Bull 2 have done extremely well. And look, it's easier for us to see it up here in the booth and say, hey, this is what you need to do, and then do it on the field. It's completely different. You know, sometimes it may seem like they have more time on the field, and it's not always like that.
It looks like Fidel Escobar might hit a shot here. He set the ball down and has lined this one up. Escobar now puts his foot through it. Never gets it to drop, though, and easily watched by Jake McGuire. The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter as we see the replay here. Hunter, center back getting his opportunity.
Yeah, and I like that, though. I like that. That's confidence. You know, it's as we said, how's he going to approach this game 2-3 weeks out from playing, representing your country in their first ever World Cup, starting all 3 games? And that's that confidence I think they want him to see. Have the confidence to step up and strike that ball. And it was a good strike. Obviously never threatened the goal, but definitely had the power that was needed from that distance.
An awkward collision there as Cutler goes down. It looked like Ferris stepping on him as he ran through the back of him. And it is our first card.
You see here, they're both going for the ball.
And then just as Cutler rolled off the field, Ferris stepped on him, but accidentally.
Yeah, I don't think there was any intent there. Just well done from Cutler to get to the ball just in front of Ferris. And unfortunately, those are those ones that never feel too good, regardless of the intent or not.
So first yellow card of the game goes to Ferris there. His first appearance for Bethlehem Steel, just turned 18, which made him eligible to be signed. A Cameroonian U17 and U20 international. Just played in U20 AFCON qualifying for the Indomitable Lions as they look to turn some things around. Cameroon not a part of this World Cup. Hoping to be a part of the next one.
I like what I've seen from Ferris tonight, though. I mean, it's his first game. Obviously, I'm sure he's been training with Bethlehem for at least a few weeks. I mean, they're not going to sign him and start him the next day if he hasn't been training. So you never know the whole story of how long he's actually been in their camp for. But it's not an easy place to come play against Red Bull 2 at home, especially in the form that they've been in on this 3-game homestand. And he's definitely created some problems, giving them a little bit different look as well. So very positive so far in the first 43 minutes of his debut.
So a set-piece opportunity coming here. Would be a big time to equalize here for Bethlehem Steel FC. Moar with the ball. First header won by Endom. Fontana trying to keep possession. Golina gets it to the backfield, and now Bethlehem Steel a chance to cycle it around the back. Bethlehem Steel FC, of course, continuing on the name of one of the great clubs in U.S. soccer history. They won a number of U.S. Open Cups in the early 1900s. Located out of Lehigh Valley, playing their games now at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University. Of course, the Philadelphia Union Academy. Hunter, one of the highest spending academies in the country, with dorms and schools all set up for players like an international program. Erik Jones, the first player out of that one, showing off his skill there. Galena now has the option outside again. He goes inside. Jones pushes it wide here for Mahoney. Mahoney clips one towards the far post, knocked down, and now cleared. One of the best build-ups of the game so far for Bethlehem. Long ball over the top. Etienne Jr. getting on his dribble as you watch that replay. Switching the field here for Stroud, and it's knocked away by Real. And we mentioned Fidel Escobar coming from the World Cup, but Erik Etienne Jr. playing for Haiti down in Argentina against the Argentine national team just about a month and a half ago in their build-up. Chance to play at that level against Messi in Buenos Aires. He's played 17 times in MLS this year, 3 goals and an assist. But he comes here and he's worked hard. He's pressed high, and he got the finish in this first half.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that just goes to show, I think that's a bigger reflection of the organization as a whole. You know, obviously the individual players as well, of course, don't get me wrong. I mean, they're ultimately the ones that have to show up and put the effort and the right attitude. But I think it comes from the top down, and whether it's John Wallenick, it's Chris Armas, or Dennis Hamlet, they have a system here. They have a system that they believe in that's going to get you to where you need to be. And I don't think they really look at this as, you know, a first team, a second team. It's just another avenue, another opportunity for these guys to prove their worth.
Hassan Endam, one of those players, oscillating between MLS and USL time, trying to find his feet here in New Jersey. The free kick will go against New York. You got to think that was a bit of an advantage there, but Daniel Gutierrez whistle blows as we enter the minimum of 1 minute of stoppage time that we've hit. Could be the last chance here of this first half. Coming forward and put it to the back of the net. Anthony Fontana, in what is the last kick of the first half, ties this one up for Bethlehem Steel FC, and we've got a game.
Yeah, and just you see here the ball from Moore, a fantastic run, splitting those two in Stroud and Lema, and just a little toe poke finish to that far post. And what an absolute steal for the Bethlehem Steel.
Bethlehem Steel FC. They get a goal in the final seconds off the foot of Anthony Fontana, his first USL goal of his career, his second professional soccer goal here at MSU Soccer Park. And New York Red Bulls 2 had their hand on the driver's wheel the entire first half, and now they have to go into the locker room and figure out what to do here and how to react for the second half. We've got first half highlights and second half action coming up here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
A dramatic one here at MSU Soccer Park. David Goss and Hunter Freeman joining you on ESPN Plus. New York Red Bulls 2, a goal in the 28th minute, controlling things, and then out of nowhere, Bethlehem Steel ties it up on the last kick. Jared Strout's been a part of that dangerous New York Red Bulls 2 buildup.
Yeah, he's had a couple good crosses into the box. Unfortunately, just missing Brian White on one of those. And maybe they could get some more runners in the box to help him out as well. You see here, good combination there with Etienne Jr., that chance just over the top of the box. This is the one I think that maybe be a little selfish there, coming off a hat trick. Have a rip. He decides to lay it off, and unfortunately no one there.
The other assist man, Santi Moar. Those two at the top of the USL standings, and Moar has done his job today.
Yeah, and a fantastic job on that goal just before halftime, but he's been dangerous. He likes to come inside on that right foot from the left. He's had a couple good deliveries from set pieces. And the last one on the goal, he was able to just find the runner, that late run into the box, and they got that goal right before halftime.
Anthony Fontana, his first USL goal of the year. The next home match for New York Red Bulls 2, they host Penn FC here Friday, August 30th. That's Dollar Hot Dog Night at MSU Soccer Park, the perfect place to be on a summer night. You've got beer, you've got soda, you've got hot dogs, and you've got some of the best young players in the country out here just feet away from you. So come on out if you can. If not, of course, we'll be here on ESPN Plus anyway. We'll be back with first half highlights and a look around the league in just a moment here on ESPN Plus. It's been a wild and crazy week of action in USL soccer. Let's take a look at the standings. New York Red Bulls 2 with these 2 wins have moved themselves safely into the playoffs. But you look at the top there, Hunter, FC Cincinnati, boatloads of talent. Danny Koenig up top, Manuel Ledesma, and then Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Bob Lilly, still only 1 loss, chasing FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, and that's who they face this weekend, this Red Bull 2 team in FC Cincinnati. And speaking of Ledesma, he's the one that burnt them here at home in the last match with a cheeky little chip over the goalie. He opened up like he was going to cross the ball, but there was no question what he was thinking in his mind, and that was to score goals.
And in the Western Conference, Real Monarchs, winners of the regular season title last year, leading the way. Reno 1868 chasing them. And then the two big boys, Sacramento Republic FC and Mainstay, a staple here in USL since they've joined, in Phoenix Rising, of course, with one Didier Drogba up top, chasing in that pack as they all look to try and catch up to Real Monarchs. And you look at the team of the week, and you look at Cameron Iwasa, the player of the week, Sacramento Republic original Jared Stroud with that hat trick gets in there, and then one of your former teammates, Alex Dixon, in central midfield.
Yeah, Alex Dixon, always good to see him on that sheet. He had 2 goals and an assist. And an interesting one for me is Wara. I know they had 2 games, but he gave up 6 goals. I know it says that he had a record of saves in that game, but when you have that many saves and you give up 6 goals, I don't know. I don't know how you get on Team of the Week.
I think Brian White should have had a shout as goalkeeper of the week. You look at this one here, 8 shots on goal to 5 for New York Red Bull Sioux. 3 shots on goal, to 2. Possession a little bit more in New York Red Bull Sioux favor, but for a large stretch of that first half, Red Bulls controlled the game, dominated, but Bethlehem did what they had to do. They bent but didn't break defensively and got the goal in the end.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes or so was kind of feeling each other out. Then Red Bull 2 really came into their own, dominated for about the next 20 minutes, and then the last 5 to 10 minutes, Bethlehem was a bit better in their possession, got back to not just clearing the ball, and then they found that late goal at the end, as I said, and there's no better feeling going in tied when you, with the last kick, literally the last kick of the match, or of the half.
Santi Moar with his 6 assists ties Jared Stroud for 4th in USL. A lot of young fans here hoping to see a New York Red Bulls 2 winner in the second half, and a lot of Bethlehem Steel traveling fans ready to upset that party here at MSU Soccer Park. We'll be back in just a moment with your second half action coming up here from MSU Soccer Park.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
The sun starting to set here at MSU Soccer Park. Perfect evening for soccer here between New York Red Bull Sioux and Bethlehem Steel FC. David Gossa, Hunter Freeman on the call for you. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. And Hunter, a well-played first half. 2 teams poking and prodding. Some really good possession play. But let's take a look at the 2 goals, and we'll start with New York Red Bulls 2.
And like I said before, you saw Tenari just helps that ball on just a little bit to White. And it's that run from outside in, splitting the outside back and center back from Erik Etienne Jr. And here it is, a fantastic little finish. It looks easy, but it's extremely difficult. And he gets his team on the board and gains the lead for Red Bull 2.
Running at full speed away, and still has to get enough on it to get it past Yarrow once he beats the goalkeeper, his first USL goal of the year. He's got 3 in MLS action for New York Red Bulls. And then on the flip side, Hunter, a few things go wrong for New York Red Bulls too, as Bethlehem scores in the last second of the first half.
Yeah, what you didn't see just before that free kick was that Cutler was caught upfield. He thought he had earned a free kick. Next thing you know, flashback, Bethlehem Steel wins a free kick. They play it quickly out wide. Endom gets taken out wide, outside the box, which allows this space right here. And then Moar finds him with the pass. And again, just a cheeky little toe poke to the far post. Maybe catches Mira just off guard because he toe pokes it a little bit, but a great finish from Fontana. And they go in the half, literally the last kick of the half, and tie the game up 1-1.
So you have that emotional boost for Bethlehem Steel going into the locker room, but some things went wrong. If you're Brendan Burke, and we'll get to Coach Wolenek in a second, as he's preparing for a game this Saturday, when you're Brendan Burke going into the locker room, what's he saying to this team? What are the changes he needs to make coming into the second half here?
Well, I think one thing I would definitely point out is that the distance between that front four and the back five, back four is too big, especially when Red Bull 2 are putting them under pressure. They need guys to come, show to the ball to help relieve that pressure. That way they can build out of the back. And then I would say keep feeding the big man up top, Ferris, who's been dangerous, gotten in behind, and also our guy out wide, and Galina.
And you see Coach Wolenek there talking to Andrew Tanari as he steps out on the field to begin this second half. What's the focus here for Coach Wolenek in that halftime conversation going into the second half?
I thought they played well. They did a lot of the things that we've seen them do the other 2 games here in this 3-game homestand. But unfortunately, they got to finish more of their chances, and that just shows you can get a good goal like Etienne Jr. had. You can dominate the half, but you fall asleep for that 1 second, or a guy gets caught out of position, and you can get punished. And that's what this Bethlehem Steel team has done to them all year. Again, Red Bull 2 has yet to beat them in 2 matches so far.
When we showed you those graphics, New York Red Bulls 2, a short turnaround. So Coach Wolenek have to be mindful of that in using players off the bench. He's got Scott Levine in goal. Jordan Scarlett, who's been a consistent starter at center back. Lucas Stauffer, the fullback. Steven Echeverria in holding midfield. Jose Aganaga in the number 10. Tom Barlow, a backup forward. And then, of course, Amando Moreno, who leads this team in scoring. And then on the flip side, for Coach Brendan Burke, he's got the academy player in Brendan Aronson and Ben Ofomu on the bench. Omar Holness, who's just come back from injury, as well as Aiden Apuduka, and then Drew Skundritz, the holding midfielder, and Chris Nanko, the attacking midfielder, on the bench, along with Thomas Romero. As Daniel Gutierrez back out on the field and ready to get us started here for the second half of action. The last time these 2 teams will face off here in 2018. Bethlehem Steel FC 1-0-1 so far in this matchup. And they are right now level on the road against New York Red Bulls 2. If you're Coach Wolenek and you give up that goal and you come into halftime, are you panicking at all, or are you yelling at your team because you played so well throughout the first half and yet you're tied 1-1?
Well, I don't think you're panicking, but I'm sure he was not the happiest of campers, and I'm sure he had some choice words for his team there at halftime because, I mean, you never want to give up a goal in the last 5 minutes of the half, but to do it like that in a half where after about the first 15 minutes, they really had settled down and started, to put their stamp on the game, and then just kind of fell asleep. Obviously, Cutler was pulled out of position, but, credit to Bethlehem Steel for taking that free kick quickly. And like I said, I think the big factor was Cutler being caught out, Endom getting dragged out wide, and that created that space for Fontana to run through the box, and then a great little finish to the far post.
Real makes the run upfield. He's got Endom pulled wide. He's able to get the cross away into the box and cleared by De Vera. Jones now in possession. Another cross comes in, and Mira takes it. Derek Jones, I mentioned, a part of that U20 team with Eric Palmer-Brown and Tyler Adams. Some other pieces in that central midfield. One of the more highly touted young U.S. players. And you've seen it here today, Hunter. Just the quality in his feet, his ability to cover ground. He is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can just look at him, and he's got a big frame, a good physique.
This one comes down the wing for Cutler, and his cross is blocked.
So you can see that he's going to be able to cover a lot of ground just with the body that he has. But I mentioned it early on. I was going to be interested in seeing how he dealt with that three in the midfield that Red Bull 2 have with Gutierrez, Lemma, and Tanari. And it's kind of, especially at home, it's almost impossible to stop them completely. But he's limited them, you know, he's limited them, and that's all you can ask from Erik Jones.
It'll be Lemma here with the in-swinger to take. He curls it in at the near post, and it's headed away pretty easily by our goal scorer, Fontana. Anthony Fontana playing in USL with Bethlehem Steel last year in 8 appearances, no goals. He scored 1 for Philadelphia Union in MLS action in 5 appearances this season, 1 start. And now here in his 9th USL game, gets his first USL goal. Stroud offside.
But that's probably what, the 3rd or 4th set piece, that opportunity that Red Bull 2 have had and really have failed to get good service. And I believe it's Lemma that's taken at least 2 or 3 of those. So that's something I look for. He's got to beat that first defender, because if you don't beat the first defender, you don't give your team a chance. You're almost better off always overhitting it than underhitting it. And I'm sure that's something he's saying to himself. Obviously, he's not going to be pleased with the service that he's provided so far. But those are great opportunities for your team to score goals on corners, on set pieces in that attacking third. And without the good delivery, they go to the wayside.
We saw in the Japan-Belgium game, you always want to overhit it rather than underhit it. Otherwise, you can give an opportunity for the other team to go back in the other direction. Moar, that's 6th assist, putting him back in the conversation in league leaders in his 2nd year in USL play. Santi Moar out of Spain. Stroud losing out on the tackle from Real, and complaining a bit to our assistant referee.
I kind of have to agree with him there. Real got his hands on his back, and that was just enough to slow him down. Smart from the defender. I mean, you get away with it, it works for you, you know, but
Caceres with the turn. Cutler now the low ball. White can't get a touch to it. Etienne Jr. is going to save it. Has it now on the end line. Back to the feet of Tanari. Etienne Jr.'s shot goes over, but Hunter, that attack started with a clearance hopeful from Fidel Escobar that Caceres is able to use as a turn, beats a defender, and then plays that ball out wide.
Yeah, and I can't tell you what a fantastic ball that was from Cutler. You won't see it from this angle, but up here in the booth, I mean, this ball's on the ground from the minute that he hits it all the way through. And I think what caused White just to miss it was it kind of had to go through a lot of traffic, and White was on the other side of his man, and I'm not sure he expected it to get through as well, but I think he kind of saw it a little bit late, and unfortunately just couldn't get that left foot on to make contact. But an absolute fantastic ball there from Cutler. Again, the view I had in the booth, it was I was salivating as soon as he played it, because I thought it was going to be a goal for sure.
A fullback to fullback love. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Hunter Freeman up in the booth wishing he was running end-to-end on that sideline.
Well, I don't know if I wish I was running, but when you get an opportunity to whip the ball in the box, that's what I miss.
Mira has to come all the way out of his goal here. An awkward one for him. It stays in play. Chambers trying to win the second ball, and Marquez clears it. Escobar now stuck with that bounce. Plays it up for Endom. And Cutler turns it over. And that one, Hunter, awkward from the beginning to the end for New York Red Bulls too.
Yeah, interesting choice there from Escobar to let it bounce. I know the reason he did, because Ferris was offside. But then he had the other player running in, putting him under pressure. And as soon as the ball bounces, you're at liberty of the ball. And that's the first thing you learn as a defender. Don't let the ball bounce.
Tanari through for White, who goes for the early ball towards Etienne Jr. Caceres brings this one down, and his volley goes flying over.
But that's what we're saying. Those last 2 chances there for Red Bull 2, those are the opportunities you got to capitalize on, because if not, this Bethlehem Steel team has shown that they're dangerous enough to find a goal.
Do you want to see Brian White shoot here?
No, I think he makes a good decision. I mean, he's quite wide. He's pretty deep in the box there. To shoot is going to be very, very difficult to score from there. all I would say is maybe when he hits that ball across, because there's only Etienne Jr. at the far post and there's 2 or 3 Bethlehem Steel guys, just fire it across. Hit it as hard as you can, because maybe one of those guys sticks their leg out trying to clear it, and they put it in the back of the net. Because all 3 of those guys are running towards the goal. And as a defender, that's the most difficult. That's the last ball you want to try to clear. Running at your goal 6 yards away, and this ball's fizzed in, and you're trying to clear it.
And we've seen a number of own goals here at MSU Soccer Park already this season. Tenari coming out of midfield to win this one. Finds the feet of Stroud. Yarrow over to defend, and the call will go in his favor. Josh Yarrow coming back from injury, just his 3rd appearance so far this season. Out of Georgetown, was a Generation Adidas signing taken by the Philadelphia Union in the 2016 Super Draft as a 2nd overall pick. Hunter, you know that pressure that comes with being a highly touted young player coming out of the draft. For Yarrow, it hasn't gone perfectly to start. As a young player, what are the types of things that he's doing to try and get better? What's the conversations he's having with his coaching staff?
I mean, first and foremost, unfortunately for him, he's got to stay healthy, right? I mean, you're not healthy. It doesn't matter how much talent you have, how much belief the organization has in you or the coach. If you can't stay healthy, that's the easiest way to find yourself not on the team. And that's really been his biggest crutch so far, is just being able to stay healthy and for a long amount of time, so that they can kind of develop him and see what he's going to turn into. But definitely a kid that comes in with a lot of promise. And I think he's at a good organization that believes in youth. They want to play young players. So if I'm Josh Yarrow, I see that and I say, you know what, this is a great opportunity for me. I need to, really take care of myself. And, some of those injuries he can't help. But the last thing you want to do as a player is get that knock on you that you can't stay healthy.
Caceres with the turnover. New York now going into their press. And then his cross blocked out for a corner kick. And of course, Yarrow drafted with his college teammate Keegan Rosenberry. And as you said, that ability to play young players came in and was in the Rookie of the Year voting in his first year.
Yeah, and here you see Bethlehem's trying to play out of the back. That Red Bull pressure gets to him. And there, I would have liked to seen Caceres shoot that one.
Tenari floats this one over the top. And I believe it went out. So it'll be a goal kick.
But going back to that chance compared to the one earlier that Brian White had, where you asked if maybe he should have shot, and I thought he made the right decision crossing the ball. That one, Caceres finds himself inside the width of that 6-yard box. And I think there, be selfish. And maybe, I don't think Caceres is that type of player. He always wants to look to pass. He loves the assist, and I love that about him. But when you're inside the box, the width of the 6 yards, and you're about 10 yards from goal, just let it rip and see what happens.
Christian Caceres in his first year with the New York Red Bulls organization out of Venezuela, 3 goals and 2 assists. Not really a player who calls his own number very often. Scored one of those goals off a penalty kick he earned late on against ATL UTD 2. Chance coming forward here for Bethlehem. Cross cleared away by Escobar. Now Etienne Jr. in possession, and he gets dragged down by Galena.
In fact, I believe Caceres, all 3 of his goals are off a penalty kick. So that just tells you right there that he's not selfish from the run of play, but from the spot, he'll definitely step up and take it.
I mean, if it's free, you might as well, right? Etienne Jr. has it knocked away by Mahoney. That one to Tenari. A little miscommunication right now by New York, and a number of blue jerseys behind the ball here to defend. Fontana trying to win that one for his team, and he will take out the ankles of Christian Caceres. And we've got a free kick coming in a dangerous area here. Can New York do a little more with this one than what we've seen on the past few? No yellow card to come.
But as you said there, in that little build-up, that initial ball from Etienne Jr., I think, was looking for the run of Lema. It finds Tenari, and then you could just see how compact that Bethlehem Steel team was. literally all 9 players, besides Ferres up top, were behind the ball. And that's where Red Bull 2 have to be patient. Use the width of this field. Move that team side to side. And then you'll find those little gaps in between that you can play those balls into.
So unfortunately here, we'll see Mickey Galina go off for Chris Nanko. He was such a bright spot early on, Hunter, but couldn't find the ball once we got through that first half.
Yeah, for me, he's one of the brightest players of them in that first half.
Lemma floats this one in, taken easily by Maguire.
A lot of their dangerous chances came through him or off his crosses. So interesting sub there. Of course, maybe he came into the match with feeling something, or maybe at halftime he said to the coach he was feeling something. But definitely for me, if not their most dangerous player, one of the two in that first half.
Nanko comes on here, a draft pick out of Syracuse. He's got 2 goals this year, making his 13th appearance. Scored about 5 minutes into his Bethlehem Steel debut last year against Harrisburg, and ended the season with 4 goals, including 1 versus New York Red Bulls 2. Trying to find some more playing time here in year 2 as Real wins it down the line. Chambers knocks it down for Jones, and Escobar clears. Etienne Jr. takes that long touch. We play a little bit of ping pong between these two teams. Nanko, his first opportunity on the field, skips by 2. Then the ball into the safe hands of Ryan Mira, who immediately throws it back out.
It's unfortunate there from Nanko, because if he could have got that ball a bit wider and outside the box, he had Fontana making a fantastic run. Unfortunately, puts it inside, and Mira's there to collect it.
Jones now making the run, and then he gets stonewalled by Endom. It looked like he had Moar out to the left, tried to cut back in.
Yeah, fantastic tackle there from Endom, because if he doesn't stop him, he's in.
Tenari with a low ball, and that one slid away by Richie Marquez. So it'll be out for another corner kick here for New York. It looks like New York has their first substitute up and ready off the bench. And it looks like it will be Amando Moreno. Although we'll find out how good my eyesight is in a moment. We've got Erik Jones down back behind the play. Or excuse me, Ferris, who got knocked over when he took that touch. You can see Bethlehem creating some danger, but not consistency to it for them. And it'll be free corner kick coming here. Lemma takes this one. On the top of the 6, still alive. Endom trying to turn, and Maguire comes out and takes it off his foot.
But much better service there from Lemma. That's what you want on your set pieces. Give your guys an opportunity. Give them a chance. Unfortunately, it was a fantastic delivery. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better place to put that ball. Unfortunately, there was just not a runner there making it. Endom tried to make something of it, but just couldn't quite do it all on his own.
Saw Endom with a goal 2 games ago, as Hunter mentioned before, for the young Cameroonian center back. Not really a huge facet of his game. Stroud's got some space here. He winds up the shot and couldn't get it inside that post. And now we've got the substitution. It'll be Amando Moreno in place of Derek Etienne Jr. Moreno, 8 goals to lead this team, but Etienne Jr. did his job here today.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talk about these guys when they're coming back and forth between, the MLS team and the second team. And I thought his mindset, the way he approached the game was very good tonight. And obviously finishing that goal, again, not an easy finish, running away from the goal at a tight angle, giving a little dink over the goalkeeper to the far post. And that's what you want. That's what you expect out of him when he comes down here to play this Red Bull 2 team. You want him to get on the score sheet. Of course you want that, but it's more about, okay, what's his mindset? How's the professionalism of the player going to be? Is he going to accept the challenge that we're giving him, or is he going to be discouraged and, wish he wasn't here?
So Moara to take. Amando Moreno, 8 goals and 3 assists so far this season, leading New York Red Bulls 2. He'll look to be goal dangerous here to try and give this team that lead. It'll be Moar to take. Floats it into a dangerous area. It goes by Jones. Now Erik Jones out in possession. He puts a second cross in. Headed back by Marquez. Won by Escobar. And now Moreno in possession. And immediately Amando Moreno looking upfield. He's got Stroud. Back into the path of Amando Moreno. It pulls him a little wide. Moreno now cutting in. He takes the left-footed shot, and it's pushed just wide by McGuire. And you can see a player, Hunter, who's out there saying, I should have started this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a combination of fresh legs and just pure skill there from Moreno. I mean, he starts that whole play with that clearance from Escobar to him. He holds the ball up. He switches the field, continues his run, gets the ball back, and then cuts inside. Shapes like he's going to hit it with his favorite right, cuts it back to his left, and a fantastic save from McGuire.
Lemon now crosses it. Cleared up in the air by Jones, still alive in the box. McGuire gets to it. Not exactly cleanly done by this Bethlehem Steel FC defense. It looks like in the end a foul called.
Yeah, it just looked like Ndom was trying to get his toe on that one there at the end and maybe slightly catches McGuire. But McGuire does well to be brave there. That's not an easy task when you're diving out towards the bottom of a foot, especially with someone the size of Ndom.
Jake McGuire here in his 12th start of the year. Out of the Chivas USA Academy as well as USU 17 residency. Had the chance to play for Wilmer Cabrera for a couple years in both places. Current Houston head coach. Tenari in some space. It's had a quieter second half than first half. But both these teams still looking for that final spark. Erik Jones down the wing for Moar. He's got runners on the far side. Ndom out to defend. Moar's not able to keep it in bounds as the flag goes up, and it's a goal kick.
Again, that was excellent one-on-one defending from your center back in Ndom. Going against a tricky and clever guy in Moar. He gets pulled out wide one-on-one, stands him up. Did the right thing not to commit to the tackle. You could tell he thought about it for a second, but then realized he's inside the penalty box and just holds him up. And in the end, Moar just runs out of room and carries the ball over the line.
The USL welcomed its newest member last Wednesday with Hartford Athletic, the 6th club, set to join the league for the 2019 season. For more information on the new club, visit hartfordathletic.com. A lot of people very excited about that expansion team just a couple hours up the way in Connecticut. It'll be another good regional rival for New York Red Bulls, too, and Bethlehem Steel. The more soccer teams in this country, the more places for players to play, the better the sport is. And there has been some great expansion going on in USL over the last 4 or 5 years. Tenari turns it over, gets it back, goes wide for Moreno. Moreno towards the end line puts his shot off the side netting.
Maybe Moreno should have shot that first time. That's me being a little bit picky there, but here, simple, off a throw-in. Tenari loses the ball originally, but gains it back. I think Bethlehem thought there was maybe a foul there. And you see that touch that Moreno takes just cuts his angle really sharply. And if he hits it first time, he has a bit more of the goal to look at. Not the worst idea, but another great chance there that Red Bull 2 doesn't capitalize on.
You got to love seeing for Moreno. This is his 3rd time playing Bethlehem Steel. He's on a hot streak. People are watching him. We talked about his favored right foot. He's now taken 2 shots with his left, showing that he has the ability to change his game based on what he's seeing.
Yeah, I mean, look, he entered the game in the 60th minute. We're in the 67th minute, and that's 2 clear-cut chances he's already created on his own. So, as you said, he's hit those first 2 with his left foot, and I think that shapes him up for some success to cut into his favorite right foot later on in this match. That's what you want, though, as an attacker. You want to keep your defender on edge, because that defender, he sees Moreno come in, the first thing he's thinking, okay, I got to protect that right foot. Don't let him go to the right. Now, 2 times in a row, he cuts it to his left, gets the shot off, so now you got to play him more straight up. You can't cheat or lean to the right foot, and that'll give him that extra half yard of space to get a shot off.
Brian White now. His left-footed shot goes wide. We haven't said his name a lot here in this second half. And at times, Hunter, Brian White, more of a creator from that center forward position than a finisher, although he has 6 on the year.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the work that he does can go a bit unnoticed maybe to most people, but I love what he brings. He's a big target up there. He does extremely well to hold the ball, and he allows those midfield 3 to run off of him. Allows guys like Moreno to make those runs in behind so that Tenari, Cáceres can play the balls there. So a lot of his work maybe goes unnoticed to the untrained eye, but I think he's a key player for the style that they like to play, and he just brings that great hold-up play to this Red Bull 2 team.
Collision here between Erik Jones and Christian Cáceres. Neither coaching staff happy with the way this one's ended. Coach Wolnick, I can tell you, walked off the field very frustrated after the series that the game ended Friday night against the Richmond Kickers. Jones jogging that one off a little bit.
Yeah, 2 guys in Cáceres and Jones. They wear their heart on their sleeve. They're not going to let up.
Stroud gets to the end line, clips it back, cleared by Chambers. And Hunter, it's interesting when you look at the way these teams are built. James Chambers, 30 years old, out of Ireland, an experienced player. New York Red Bulls, too, have never signed a player like that. But Bethlehem basically bringing in a player coach in Chambers to help develop some of these young guys.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad idea. I actually like it. I think it's important to have a seasoned veteran, if you will, on a team, especially when a majority of the team is young, because, again, these guys are still learning what it's like to be a professional athlete, what it's like to play year-round, what it's like to train every single day even. You know, some of these guys were only maybe training 3-4 times a week. So the travel, all that stuff, and that's something that someone like Chambers can provide to your team.
Moreno rips that shot off his teammate's face in White. Stroud still playing with White down on the field holding his face, and his shot blocked for a corner kick. And that one came fast and from close to hit Brian White.
Yeah, and that's that right foot that we were just talking about from Moreno. And finally, he cuts it inside and lets one go. And you see the venom that he can strike it with. And unfortunately for Brian White, he was just trying to make a little dummy run to drag a player out. And unfortunately for him, you'll see right here, tees it up and it just, I mean, I'm not even sure if it hits him in the chest or in the head, but either way, that one is not going to feel very good. And you can tell that he's maybe not too sure where he is right now.
It looks like Ben Ofimu is going to be the one to come on in place of Josh Yarrow. So Yarrow gets 70 minutes as he continues his rehab. Ofimu, just 17 years old, an academy player on loan with Bethlehem Steel. We'll take another look at this replay. Brian White, unfortunately, in the wrong place at the wrong time, gets hit in the face. We hope all the best for him. He's with the trainer. They will go through whatever protocols he has to make sure he's healthy.
Yeah, that one certainly didn't feel good, and you saw there in that replay, strike right to the face.
So it'll be Tenari to take as Red Bulls now play 10 on 11. Tenari backs up to take this one long. Floated in, headed away by Chambers. Now Cutler cuts in field, slips it towards the end line. Stroud able to keep it in play. Stroud has his cross blocked. So Ofimu The young player out of the academy will step in at center back.
And this previous corner from Tanaria, another good service, similar area that the ball landed to the one that Lima had taken. But it's interesting to note that Indom and Escobar both were making runs at the far post.
This one floated in. Still alive on the top of the box. Turned over to Nanko. Nanko's early ball up the field. Devera's beat. Cutler makes the recovery run and clears it away before Mira touches it. Nico Devera wrong-footed, and Ethan Cutler had to make that play.
You're absolutely right, and that's what we've seen from this Bethlehem Steel team is they kind of go quiet for segments at a time, but then they just show you that little burst or whatever it, on the counter. This is maybe the second time I can think of in the second half where they've caught Red Bull on the counter from a set piece, and they're just dangerous enough to keep you on your toes. And it was a miss there from Cáceres, and then there Devera thought the ball was going to get played down the channel. It gets played down the middle, and he gets kind of wrong-footed. And just a good job overall from Mira, who possibly could have gotten, and Cutler just taking no chances and clearing it out.
Well, we talked about the danger sometimes on your own set pieces, the counter the other way. We've seen the speed of Nanko since he's come in as a sub already in this one. Fontana floats this one in. Headed away by Escobar. There was Bethlehem Steel players lurking behind him. Now Moreno trying to get up the field. Finds the feet of Cáceres. Brian White back into the game. Tom Barlow is up off the bench with his jersey on. So you'd expect a sub coming for White here in the next few moments. We've got just south of 17 minutes left to play. New York Red Bulls 2 trying to make it 3 wins in a row here at home. Bethlehem Steel FC done more than enough to hang on to their 1 goal. That one headed back out. Cáceres' shot is blocked and over the top. New York Red Bulls 2 have put on the pressure here, Hunter, in the second half, but nothing clear-cut. Bethlehem Steel's done just enough and been a threat on the counter.
Yeah, they just got to make these chances into goals. And here, a fantastic whipped-in ball from Cutler once again, and that guy, Brian White, just can't get on the end of one of these. All he needs is a shoelace because these balls are getting whipped in with pace.
Corner kick coming now. New York floats it to the far post, headed away. Chambers now will try and lead the counter. Out wide from Ferris. Nanko gets it by Devera. Takes, looks like no touch, so it'll be a New York throw-in. And it will be actually Jared Stroud to sub out in place of Tom Barlow, so Brian White will continue. Hunter Stroud coming off that hat trick. Was never going to follow it up with 3 goals. What did you think of his performance today?
Yeah, I mean, I thought obviously he always puts in the work. He's relentless in that, and he provided some good services into the box that, again, unfortunately, Brian White or Etienne Jr., they just couldn't quite get on the end of them. But a good shift from him. And one thing I talked to John Wallinek over the weekend about with Tom Barlow is that how fast he is. He told me, and this is coming directly from the horse's mouth, that Barlow is one of his fastest players on this Red Bull 2 team. And not only is he fast, but obviously he's a big boy. So if you're a big kid like that and you can move, I look for him to be extremely dangerous.
Omar Holness checking in here as a sub for this Bethlehem Steel team in place of Anthony Fontana. Holness, the Jamaican international, his first chance on the ball. Of course, drafted by RSL out of UNC. Had that terrible seizure and injury in his first year, but has worked his way all the way back now. Also from an ACL tear. It's just his second game back. Second game with Bethlehem Steel. An exciting young player, full Jamaican international already at the age of 24. Real's cross comes in and Mira takes it. So Holness bringing a little bit more size and speed into that central midfield alongside Jones and Chambers. Anthony Fontana with his goal in the first half. Right now the equalizer for Bethlehem steal. Lemma coming forward. Goes wide for Moreno. Moreno with the shot, and he beats McGuire. Armando Moreno's 9th of the year. He leads Red Bulls 2 in goals, and he's leading them right now to victory.
And you could almost see this coming since his introduction into the game in the 60th minute. He's been dangerous from the onset. And as we said, he hit those first 2 chances with his left. We had the shot earlier that went off White's face with his right that he got a hold of. And here, he just takes those 2 little touches, a slight deflection. And that little deflection might actually allowed that ball just to get over. And also, McGuire gets his hand to it. Difficult one there for the goalie anytime it takes even the slightest of deflection. But, again, you got to give credit to Moreno. I think, those 2 chances earlier really set that one up because the defender had to play him more honestly, and that allowed that little half yard that he was able to get that shot off with his right foot, and a fantastic goal.
Barlow showing that speed a little bit. He gets a chance on goal, and it floats just wide. Armando Moreno giving this team the lead, coming off the bench. Erik Jones Jr. getting the start here today. And Armando Moreno taking advantage of the minutes he does get, as Barlow was just inches wide on that one.
Yeah, Barlow trying to, channel his inner Moreno there, almost identical, rolling it, a couple touches with the outside of the right and letting it go. And you'll see that Brian White switch to the right-hand side now. Barlow up top as that target man.
And you look at right now what Armando Moreno is doing for this Red Bulls 2 team as Barlow battles away. Tanari picks up the second ball. His shot is blocked. And now Jones will look to counter. So now Bethlehem Steel needs a goal. Hunter, they've played passively so far in this second half, sitting back defensively, taking their chances on the counter. You'd expect to see them to commit some more numbers now.
Yeah, I mean, they have to if they want to try to get a point or even 3 points out of this. Because really in this second half, their most dangerous opportunities have come from Red Bull set pieces on the counter.
Armando Moreno moving into a many-way tie for second place in USL with 9 goals on the season, just behind Yarrow and Enel Voldsen, both out in the Western Conference as that one goes just high.
And, we were speaking about, like, Escobar, Etienne Jr., what their attitude would be coming into this. But look no further than Armando Moreno. I mean, look at him this past 6-7 months. He comes back from Mexico, signs with the first team at Red Bull, gets released, re-signs with Red Bull 2, and he could have gone one of 2 ways, right? He can either approach it like he has, very professional, said, you know what, I'm gonna take this negative and turn it into a positive, or he could have just continued, put his head down, and maybe moped, felt sorry for himself. So all credit to Armando Moreno because he has been absolutely fantastic for this Red Bull 2 team.
Holness down the wing for Moar. Cutler with the slide tackle. Didn't look like he got a lot of the ball in the initial tackle, but no whistle from Daniel Gutierrez. Cutler with the ball to find Caceres. And Armando Moreno, as you said, Red Bull Academy player. Some time with the first team, but went down to Mexico to Tijuana. And now he is on a tear with this USL squad as that shot saved by McGuire.
You can see that the life that goal for Red Bull 2 that Moreno just scored, the life that is injected back into them. Because since they scored that goal, they're pressing, they're creating numerous chances. And Bethlehem, they just can't even get out of their half almost.
Moar turning around Cutler. His seeing through ball is for Erik Jones, who's flying down the field. De Vera back to cover, as does Endom. And Jones able to keep possession and get it to Holness. Now the cross played in and headed away. And Erik Jones just one touch off. Otherwise, he was in the box and in on goal.
And those are those runs that Red Bull 2s used to make into other teams' back four. That run from deep in the midfield, that's what Erik Jones did. He made a run from deep. The back four, the two center backs, they're not aware of him. But credit to Nico de Vera. Your left back coming all the way over to this right-hand side, sniff out the danger, and eliminate Jones from getting a shot on goal.
And we've seen de Vera and Cutler both using their awareness and some effort to make some big clearances in this one. Nanko to take a dangerous free kick here, trying to equalize once again. Bethlehem left it late in the first half. Can they do it again here in the second? Nanko's cross knocked down in the box. And now New York able to clear it out, and they win a throw-in. New York Red Bulls 2 on this tear. Back-to-back 5-1 wins. It hasn't been easy in this one against Bethlehem, but what have you seen as a team in their performance today?
Well, a lot of the similar things that we saw in those first two games, that they kind of blew out the opposition. Tonight, it's been a much closer game, but still a game where I felt like they had control for a majority of the match. They just weren't able to put some of those chances away, and I also think that Bethlehem created a lot more trouble for them than Richmond or Atlanta 2 did in the past two games.
A yellow card coming here for Holness. A little jersey pulling between the two, and then I think a couple words said from Holness afterward. Voting is now open for the 2018 Fans' Choice Midseason Awards as you get to decide which players stood out from the pack so far this season. Cast your votes in the 5 award categories at uslsoccer.com. Still plenty left to play for in USL. We showed you the standings at halftime for a number of these teams, but if New York Red Bulls 2 can hang on to this one, they would slide into 4th place ahead of Louisville City. Now, Louisville City has a few games in hand, but it puts New York Red Bulls 2 in that conversation, chasing the Pittsburgh Riverhounds at second, as FC Cincinnati right now is blowing everyone away at the top of the Eastern Conference.
And what will be interesting in these last 6-7 minutes plus stoppage time is how Red Bull 2, what's their mentality to close this game out in a close game, in a game that they've had a control of for a majority of it, but still all Bethlehem needs is one goal and they get a point, or possibly even get 2 and steal all 3. And we saw that happen in that first half. That late goal, a little lack of concentration there.
Tenari here charging out of midfield on this bouncing ball. Good tackle put in by Real. Back on the goal scorer Moreno's foot. It's something we've talked about the last 2 games, Hunter, and they've led 5-0 in both games, but given up late, soft goals and goals that they've defensively been frustrated with, as Gutierrez tries to get on the end of that one, and he gives up the goal kick. Just those mental lapses, and now you're going to be more tuned in 2-1 compared to 5-0. But still, we've seen those moments, as you said in the first half, where this team has fallen asleep in big areas.
Yeah, and look, Red Bull 2, they're a team that wants to play attractive soccer. They want to play out of the back. They want their outside backs to get forward. But when you look up, it's the 86th minute. You're leading 2-1. You're at home.
Don't pass the ball back into a dangerous area like that.
Right, but, don't take those chances that maybe you would have taken early in the match. If you're outside back and the opposite outside back has bombed forward, maybe you stayed to make sure you guys have numbers in the back. These little things that are going to make a difference between, a counterattack where it's 3v3 or a counterattack where you have 4 guys and they have 3. Something simple as, let me just put my foot through this ball clear and we live to fight another day, or I try to play it out of the back, I miss the pass, and I create a chance for the other team.
Tenari here, out wide for Moreno, who's offside. His flag may be on Barlow for passive offside. So he was in the path of the pass.
Yeah, I think Moreno wanted that one touch earlier from Tenari.
Do you want to get key talking points from across the USL every week? Tune in to The Hat Trick with Kelsey Steele on Monday evenings at the USL's Instagram account to stay in the know on what's going on around the league. Bethlehem Steel, as we said, they get a nice little break here, a week and a half off before their next game against Indy 11 next Thursday. And then they host ATL UTD 2. If they're not able to get a point here in this one, they'll drop into 11th in the Eastern Conference for New York Red Bulls 2. We mentioned it. They head to FC Cincinnati on Saturday as Cutler closing on this one. Jones wins it, and now plenty of danger to run into. Moar coming forward. He slips it up the field for this Bethlehem Steel team, and the shot knocked away. Ferries charging forward, but wasn't able to find a teammate.
But that's exactly what I was just talking about, right? There you see Cutler trying to get on the end of that. He was kind of in between. He wasn't really staying back. He wasn't pushing forward. And he just can't quite get onto the end of that. But then he vacates a huge amount of space here on that right-hand side for Red Bull 2 and allows that counter. And well done from Escobar, because if he doesn't get a slight deflection on that cross there, Bethlehem Steel have two guys in the box. And I'm not sure that Mira would have been able to get to it.
It's been an up-and-down performance for both these teams. Something you'd expect with a lot of talent as well as inexperience on the field. This one driven down the line by Marquez into space. Good first performance from Ferris in his first game here in the United States.
Yeah, he's been left alone a lot of times for this Bethlehem Steel team up top tonight. But again, you see there time and time again, if it's a foot race, he's going to win it. There's no question about that.
Barlow charging into space, into the feet of Moreno. Moreno gets to his left foot, takes the shot, and inches wide.
I mean, what else can you say about Moreno since he's come into the match today? He's been absolutely electric. Everything that you want when you say, hey, go in and give me a good 30 minutes. He's done that and some more. And here again, doesn't take the best of first touch. It gets caught a little bit behind him, but he collects it. He draws that central defender in, and then he knows exactly what he's going to do. He's going to take that one long touch there at the end and hits it with his left and just can't quite put it on target.
So a defensive sub to try and close this one out. Coming here for Coach John Wolenek. Brian White is out, and center back Jordan Scarlett, who's been a starter most of the year, coming in. Hunter, at halftime, New York Red Bulls 2 were out shooting Bethlehem Steel FC 8-5. Here, now in the 90th minute, 22-5. New York Red Bulls 2. Shows you the way this second half has been played.
Yeah, I mean, that sums it up for me. What else do you need to say? They picked up from where they were in that first half, besides giving up that goal right there at the end. I was saying early in the second half they needed to capitalize on their chances because they were creating a lot, and they finally got that goal from Moreno.
So 4 minutes of stoppage time, a minimum coming up. And that'll be a foul against Bethlehem Steel FC. For Bethlehem/Philadelphia Union fans, good news. The Union are leading Orlando City in Open Cup quarterfinal play right now, 1-0 in the 89th minute. Louisville City, the last USL team standing, just kicked off about 10 minutes ago against the Chicago Fire. Louisville City, of course, their coach James O'Connor going from Louisville to Orlando. He got his first career MLS head coaching victory this last weekend against Toronto FC. Toronto FC ahead against Ottawa Fury in Canadian Championship. There's so much going on here, Hunter. Sport never ends. It's beautiful.
That's what happens in the summertime here in the U.S. Between MLS games, Open Cup games, USL, ICC, you name it. There's plenty of soccer for you to be able to watch. And I don't think that's a bad thing, right? And I mean, we just got done with the World Cup, so.
Yeah, we're all like, we need it right now. You don't want to come off too fast. It can be dangerous.
That's right.
If you go cold turkey. Playing in the Open Cup, Hunter, what's it like? I mean, it was important, very important to some of the clubs you played in. What's it like having this huge game midweek? maybe at an odd time when you're not normally playing, but that has so much buildup around it.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you get to this stage, the quarterfinals, I mean, you look at, even sometimes these MLS teams, they approach the early games maybe with not as much importance as some of the lower division teams. But once you get to the quarterfinals of any competition, I don't care who you are or what league you're in, you got to take that seriously because you're just three games away, right?
From a trophy.
From a trophy.
Yeah.
So, and there's plenty of teams that haven't won a trophy that want to add to their trophy cabinet. So I look at all these teams that are in the tournament now. Obviously, Louisville, the one exception that's not an MLS club. But these MLS clubs are going to be taking it seriously. Obviously, the LA Portland game, they just faced one another this weekend. So that's an interesting one. You're turning around, playing the exact same team.
Later.
It's a funny one. And I know obviously Giovanni Savarese, he takes that competition very seriously.
Peter Vermees, another guy who takes that one seriously, winning it last year. His team's up 1-0 right now in the 21st. Red Bulls 2, leading 2-1 right now in the final few moments of this one. It was a first half goal from Erik Jones Jr., his first USL goal of the year in the 28th minute to put New York Red Bulls 2 up 1-0. Anthony Fontana scores his first career USL goal in the last second of the first half to make it 2-1. As De Vera puts his foot through that one. And then Armando Moreno off the bench, his 9th goal of the season in the 78th minute to move into a tie for second place in the USL Golden Boot race, but more importantly, potentially to make it 9-9 in a week and a half of home games for New York Red Bulls 2 to really, Hunter, set this team right again.
Yeah, I mean, before they had that first game of this homestand, they were outside the playoffs looking in, and now after this 3-game match of collecting 9 points, they're going to be in 4th place. So obviously you couldn't have drawn it up any better, and not a great way to now hit the road with all these points in hand and with one of your toughest matches of the year coming away to Cincinnati.
In 4 days, New York Red Bulls 2 will head to Cincinnati on Saturdays. We've hit our 4 minutes minimum of stoppage time. Daniel Gutierrez adding a few more seconds on here as Moreno's shot is over the end line with a deflection, so it'll go out for a corner kick, which may be the end of this one. So we've got those 2 blasts of a whistle. New York Red Bulls 2 get a 2-1 win here over Bethlehem Steel. Hunter, it wasn't easy. May not have been the prettiest game, but for New York Red Bulls 2 showing a different side of themselves, continuing to prod and poke and get that second goal.
Yeah, it was great because the first 2 games of this homestand were pretty much blowouts where they didn't really have much in the game at the end other than just watching that clock tick. This one, they had a fight till the end. They had to answer a late goal there in the first half that can knock the wind out of you when you're going into halftime. They came out in the second half, and as you said, Bethlehem Steel didn't have 1 shot on goal in the second half, and Red Bull, they almost doubled their shots total in the second half. So credit to Armando Moreno as well. He came off onto the field in the 60th minute and was absolutely fantastic for them.
Dramatic game from start to finish. A late first half goal ties it for Bethlehem. A late second half goal wins it for New York Red Bulls 2. We'll be back in just a moment on ESPN Plus with post-game action coming up.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
smiles all around for New York Red Bulls, too, as they close out a 3-game homestand with 3 straight wins and move to 4th place in the Eastern Conference after a hard-fought game against Bethlehem Steel FC. Let's take a look at the highlights. David Goss and Hunter Freeman here with you. And early on, New York Red Bulls 2 controlling possession and finally getting the finish from Erik Etienne Jr.
And it's that guy up top, Brian White, holding up the ball, allowing Etienne Jr. to make that darting run in behind the defense. And a fantastic finish from a sharp angle, the little dink over the keeper's leg there into the far post, and gets them on the board at 1-0.
Erik Etienne Jr., 3 goals in MLS play this year, his first goal in USL play, and then at the last second of the first half, Bethlehem Steel pounces.
Yeah, I believe the referee calls a handball there on Cáceres. And as we said before, you see Cutler here jogging back into the view, but he's out of position, and now Endom gets dragged out wide. Moar's one-on-one, and now Fontana finds bukus of space there where Endom had gotten drawn out, and a fantastic little toe poke finish to the back post with literally the last kick of the first half.
Anthony Fontana, his first USL goal of his career. Armando Moreno forced to come off the bench, the leading goal scorer for New York Red Bulls 2 with the winner.
He had 2 chances prior to this where he struck them with his left foot and had just missed. And finally, he gets it back on that right hand side. That right foot, a fantastic strike, a slight little deflection here. But he was fantastic all night from his insert in the 60th minute. And he gets that pivotal goal to go up 2-1.
Armando Moreno now 9 goals on the year. You look at those stats, 23-5 in shots. Only 5 of them on frame for New York, but it shows you with that possession, they controlled this second half very well. New York Red Bulls 2, as we said, move to 4th place in the Eastern Conference. It doesn't get easy. FC Cincinnati on Saturday on the road, and then 1 week later they head to Al Lang Stadium to face off against the Tampa Bay Rowdies and their former teammate in Stefano Bonomo. But Coach Wolinek's side back on track. We'll see them again here, Hunter, on August 3rd at MSU Soccer Park. On the flip side for Bethlehem Steel, they drop to 11th in the Eastern Conference, and they'll head to play Indy 11 in their next game. Thanks so much to everyone out there watching us today. And, of course, if you are around for August 3rd, come on out to MSU Soccer Park. It's a great place to see a game. For myself, David Goss, Hunter Freeman, Rich Kaufman, Mike Demmel, everyone else involved with our broadcast, thanks so much for watching, and have a great night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.